This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Bigson. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby!
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman, and it's a Sunday morning edition of the Mike North Advantage. How about that sweet victory by Texas Tech to advance to the Final Four? Was trading Jordan Howard a mistake or just inevitable? Eloy Jimenez gets his first 2 hits for the Chicago White Sox. And for the Cubs, Yu Darvish walks 7 in less than 3 innings. Does Yu suck? I know Mike North doesn't. He's red hot with his picks. Let's get his thoughts on all of these stories and more. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
Never been better, Aldo. Never been better. We're on the horse again. We're ready to ride 10-4 overall. On Bears Barroom, getting it done with the odds couple on ESPN 1006 and 4. 177 games over 500 at Vegas scores and odds. But you know what? There's nothing better than talking to you, talking to the folks, talking to the chat room on a Sunday morning, getting ready for games today. I'll have a couple picks later on. But, I mean, I'm feeling great. You know what? It's been a great sports week. It's been a controversial sports week. I started off my day yesterday by betting on Rory McIlroy. That was a big mistake. You know what? I want him to go and get a spinal operation at some point down the line when he goes up against an idol. I should have known better. But other than that, everything's going good.
Yeah, that was quite interesting, and I love the way that Tiger made him putt that like 2-footer, 3-footer or so. He said, "I'm not going to give you any gimmies." Just right after Rory gave him a gimme, and that just seemed to mess with Rory McIlroy's head. And the rest of the way, he just couldn't get it together, and Tiger won easily.
Well, you know what? What's funny is that then McIlroy made him putt later on, one that I thought was a gimme, but I had switched the TV for a minute to see something else, and I went back, and they didn't make a big deal out of it. I thought it was a gimme. He made Tiger putt it, but Tiger looks great. I mean, Tiger did lose yesterday evening with that 4-foot putt, and it's a shame. And that was a moment, a big Tiger moment that he would have canned years ago. And I guess if you want to look at Tiger and look at that missed putt, you can. But I watched that morning round. He looked like Tiger of '97. He made a couple mistakes, but got out of it.
Yeah, you know, this whole thing about gimmies in match play, what do you think about that? Do you think they should do away with that rule and just everybody putt out?
No, I don't mind that if it's match play. I mean, you know, you've never seen it at the Masters.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a 1-inch way, they're going to make the guy putt it.
Right.
If it's one of the majors or if it's any tournament. So I think it's a way of making it move, making it go as far as the format's concerned. I'm okay with the format as long as it was Tiger and Rory. I didn't watch any more of the golf. It was the biggest thing going because it's the first time they've really faced each other in a match play competition. And quite frankly, it's pretty tough. I took a guy at minus 160, and then I realized, wait a minute, Rory McIlroy, a 9-year-old, was crapping in his pants but had a poster of Tiger on his wall. So that's pretty tough to overcome.
Yeah, it was great to see those two great golfers doing. And then Tiger loses the next match, unfortunately. He didn't have it to get to the Final Four. But your guy... Your guy has it to get to the Final Four, right? Your man from Texas Tech. What a game for Texas Tech to upset Gonzaga and make it to the Final Four. Did you see the game, and what are your thoughts?
No, I didn't see the game. One of the kids I helped coach, along with a great staff, and had Coach Tom Lessador. We blew it off. Are you kidding me, Aldo? I know you were having fun with me on that because Matt was on our show and last week. And really, I mean, he said he hadn't been shooting well. He could handle the ball better. I've said that. I think sometimes his dribbles gets a little bit too high. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, he played his perfect floor game.
He did.
And I'm so proud of him. Everybody in Chicago should be proud of him. He's a Notre Dame college prep kid he looks at his shortcomings. He said last week he was immature when he played high school, but most of the kids are. Mm-hmm. But he was real quiet and really skinny. I mean, he came in as a freshman at about 155 pounds. And I'm watching this kid last night. He grown. I mean, he's big and grown. And you know what? I wasn't far-fetched when I said this to be because we are biased for Matt. But he's the kind, he handles the ball well, passes with either hand. He'd be a nice 10th or 11th guy on an NBA team.
Yep.
A guy that could fit into the rotation, like McConnell of Philadelphia, or you know, the NBA's made up of guys like Matt Moody's.
Sure.
I thought that Matt would go to Europe, but after last night, and let's see how he plays coming on, if he has a big Final Four, maybe the kid ends up in the NBA, because I was ready to tweet John Paxson. I don't know if he's taking my tweets anymore, but I was ready to tweet or text Johnny and say, this kid's a nice little fit for any team. He's a team player, and he came over. But what's great about Chris Beard's team, Aldo, is if you listened last night, there's like 4 or 5 guys that were transfers on that team. And he put them all together, and he's got to be one of the hottest coaches in demand right now. I'd love to see him stay at Texas Tech, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think down the line he's going to go for the bigger money and the bigger stature.
Well, here's Mooney talking to ESPN minutes after the big win.
You all went blow for blow with Gonzaga, top seed, great team. How did you maintain your poise and finish strong to get the win?
You know, we had an 18-round fight in the Big 12, and we had a lot of really tough tests in the Big 12 that prepared us for this.
Now you go forward to Minneapolis. What do you have to do to cut down another set of nets and win it all?
Just listen to Coach Beard. He hasn't steered us wrong yet, man. Our coaches are the best in the country. They give us a great game plan.
Yeah, just like you said, the coach is one red-hot commodity. And to your point about Moody potentially being in the NBA, I think there are still NBA coaches who like players who are hard-nosed, can play defense, and hit a clutch shot now and then. So, yeah, Mooney should have some kind of a future in the NBA. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, if he doesn't, then he'll go somewhere else. That's fine. I think his plan, and then you know what? I thought last night Reggie Miller and those guys told it just like it was. They got into the conversation about Northwestern and Creighton and Texas Tech. And Dan Bonner, who does a pretty good job, professional broadcaster, been with CBS for 34 years, they gave all the stuff that Matt gave out. You know, I wanted to, this guy was good with transfers, this guy was, and really Dan Bonner said it right. Really, Matt Mooney wanted to go to the tournament. And with Northwestern or Creighton, that's not assured. In fact, with Northwestern, it's probably almost assured that you're not going to go to the tournament. And he said that was the tipping point. I don't know if it was completely the tipping point, but as you look at it today, I mean, Jim Phillips, the president, who's a friend of mine, you know, he asked me to speak on Matt's behalf, you know, and I tried, you know, to talk to Matt about it. And Matt basically said that he liked that staff, as you said as you heard last week on our show, Aldo. But really, at the end of the day, Bonner's right. He, you know what? Guess what? He wanted to play in the tournament.
Yep. You know, you and BB have to be really proud of this young man.
Oh, the guy's been at my home.
Nice.
Of course, if he was, I'd have to have more food now. He looks like he's gotten much bigger. Look, you know that interview he just did? That's more words than he said to the coaching staff in 2 years at Notre Dame. And then his junior year, him and I got a rapport. I was always the mess-around coach. I'd help some kids with their dribble. I'd help some kids with their shooting. I'd go over and hang out with the kids. I told Tom West, look, we got a great offensive coach in Kevin Clancy, great defensive coaches, great weight coaches in Jeff Williams. We got all that. Who's the mood coach? And he said, what do you mean? I go, you need a kid. I played on teams. You need a coach that the kids can confide in, that they can hang out with, and that they know you're not going to go back in and talk about them to the rest of the coaching staff. And that's sort of like the rapport I had with some of the kids on those teams. And Matt, for sure. Matt, junior and senior year, you know, we did a lot of talking. A lot more than we did his freshman and sophomore years. We're so proud of him. We're watching him. I can't imagine how his parents feel. We're great people. And his brother Joe plays at Rivers, I believe it's Cal River side, with Jim Les. I hope I'm right on the River side. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, he plays for Jim Les. So just look up Jim Les, former Bradley star, who I touted for the Northwestern job, but Chris Collins got it.
And let's talk a little bit about I did it again. Let's talk a little bit about Duke, because Duke may be the most talented and also the luckiest team in this tournament. What do you think about their path to the Final Four?
You broke up. Was that Duke?
Yes, Duke.
Okay. Duke.
Talented and lucky.
K.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Duke, it's Coach K. I played for Coach K at the Jordan Fantasy Camp. He just drafted Chicago kids. We were losing the game by 8 points and going into the second half. Calm. Don't worry. Just do your job. Pass the ball. Hit the jumper. Hit your free throws. Boom. We won the game. No screaming. No yelling. Nothing. I think he's a great coach. The greatest of all time, in my opinion. Although wouldn't people have a legit argument, no doubt about it. It was much tougher back in the day to even get into the tournament, so I give John Wooden all the credit in the world. But in this era, with 67 teams, when there was less and stuff, I think he's the best of all time.
I did it again.
I love it, though. It's comforting. It's comforting. I love it.
I'm going to be conscious of that for the rest of my life.
Sensational Chicago guy.
Yeah, he really is. What a leader! What a Hall of Famer he is. So they're going to play Michigan State. What is it at 4:00 Eastern today? I believe. Yeah, 4:00 Eastern in Kentucky at Auburn. You got any surprises for us there on those two games? No.
I'm not even going to bet them.
Interesting.
I'm not betting them. We'll talk about that right now. I mean, to me, this tournament, I only had one game that I bet the other day, and I won it. Kentucky. I bet it on minus the 2. Almost lost that, and I had the money line on it. But I just think, the other day on ESPN, I had a winner of Virginia. So I mean, it's just been a tougher, when you get to this road now, like you saw the defense last night. The method I use right now, either teams. It's even. Either teams.
Interesting.
You're better off playing the money line if you want, but just look at the price.
Yeah. Well, they should be fun games. Kentucky.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to watch them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
with Maddie, I didn't bet the game last night with Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way I was going to bet against them. No way. No way I was betting against Texas Tech with a former Notre Dame college prep kid, a Chicago kid that we know and love on that team. There's no way. And I'm glad I didn't. I enjoyed the game.
I didn't have a red cent on it, and I was nervous the entire way because I was rooting for Mooney. It's like I can imagine people who were betting thousands of dollars just, oh, my gosh. I don't know if I've got the nerves that you have to place big money on some of these games.
It's so hard. It's so excruciating. If you win, it's so good. But you know what? I had a bad week on the odds couple, and you know what? And Carmen had an okay week, but the week before he had. Look, you want to be right, especially when you're on the air. Mm-hmm. So we have a winning record, but we'd like to continue to win, like we do on all our other platforms. I'm 6-4, but I had a bad week, so I'm not happy about it, even though I'm 60%. I strive to win every game, and I take these games like I'm the coach. And I knew I was in trouble. For instance, with Roy yesterday, when Tiger made a long putt to even up with Roy on one of the holes, and Roy cracked a joke with him. And Roy was down 2 already.
Yes.
I looked at B. I said, I'm dead. She goes, what do you mean? I go, this kid, he's just happy to be with him. He's 30 years old. He's with his pal. I'm dead. And I was.
Yeah. That the competitive spirit is different nowadays than it used to be, right? I mean, these guys are all pals, You end up second place, third place in the PGA tournament. You win as much money as most people could ever dream of winning in a full year of golf. And so it just, from A to Z, and you name the sport, the competitive spirit, it just seems like it's diminished a little bit over the years.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Roy was putting tight. I mean, he played like a college kid in the first 9 holes yesterday. He putted tight. He wasn't following through. They were all shocked. He's missing 4-footers. But then I start realizing it's not about being buddy-buddy with them. It's about he's playing against his golf god.
Right.
And, You got to be able to put that away.
Right.
But some people can't. Intimidation, idol worship, anything you want to call it, play into it. There's running backs that were grown men that feigned injury so they wouldn't have to play the Bears when Butkus was in the middle. That was out of intimidation and fear of what the man was going to do to him. And I think Rory had a little of what was going to happen to him before they teed off. He teed off, and he was tighter than a drum, and Tiger was flexible, baby. He was just rolling, and once he got the lead, it was over.
Now, these 4 guys that are left in that tournament, I think the only guy that I really know of is Matt Kuchar. The other 3 I'm not very familiar with, but do you have a favorite? Are you betting on who's going to win that tournament?
No.
Okay.
Nah, you know what? I bet Rory yesterday. He was the hottest golfer going. And you know what? It's just a different animal. The method worked in Rory's favor. That's why he was minus 160. But the intestinal fortitude, that doesn't come into play with handicapping. And he really, yesterday, basically, I saw the first 9 holes a little timid. Very timid. In fact, Nick Faldo said he saw tension. Well, that means you're tight. That means you're tight. Mm-hmm. And Nick Faldo knows tension. He's beat it. And he's also lost with it. These are professional golfers. Yesterday, the God worship of Tiger by Roy McIlroy was the main thing that cost him the game.
George Bayless in the chat room, going back to basketball, says that he just placed a bet. Auburn plus 4.5 and Duke at -5 at 3-1. So Mr. Bayless, also known as Barlissimo, has got some money on the games today.
I love Barlissimo.
He's one of the greatest.
Yes,
There's no doubt about it. And he's also a huge Bears fan. So let's switch topics to the Chicago Bears, because you and I have not had a chance to talk about the Jordan Howard trade. And before I get your opinion on this, we had Greg Gabriel, the former Chicago Bears scouting director and an NFL scout personnel man for over 30 years. He was a guest on our Draft on Tap series, a 10-part series that is following the NFL draft. And he was asked if he was surprised about the trade of Jordan Howard. This is what he said.
No, I think the timing of it shows that he was not in their plans, period. And they were going to move on. They wanted somebody better at the position. And I don't think that it's a takeaway from who Jordan Howard is. Jordan Howard's a good football player, but he's got limitations, and he's not a fit for this offense.
Your thoughts on that, Mike North?
Did Seattle get rid of Marshawn Lynch right before they were going to win the Super Bowl?
I love it.
I mean, if you want to look, Jordan Howard's been one of the best backs in the league over the last 3 years. And why you're not in the plans is the question. How did you not I hear he wasn't part of their offense. How do you give the guy the ball 250 times? It's not part of the offense. To me, he was a big part of the offense. Now, I had people say he only averaged 3.7. I told you his job was to get first downs. If he's got 1 yard to go for a first down, he's not looking for the hole on 3rd and 1. What's he doing? He's trying to get that yard. So he'll get 2 yards, and he'll continue to drive. That counts against your average. I think that's deceiving. I think the fact that he can catch the ball, if you throw it to him, not as good as Tariq Cohen, and not as quick. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know. He had the 5th most carries in the National Football League. 5th. You know who the other 4 guys were? Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott. You want me to go on? Big-time players.
Yeah.
So I think all of a sudden, the guy like me, who wasn't as big a fan as you know, Aldo, mm-hmm. I'm talking to Bear fans, and I'm trying to figure out how you're not part or you weren't in the plans when you win 12 games, you carry for 250 yards, 250 carries, and on top of that, you're a leader, and you know what? I just think you're going to have trouble replacing those 250 carries. A load back is important in today's football game, whether people want to admit it or not.
Well, and that's the big mystery. That traditionally that is the case, but under Matt Nagy, it seems like he's very content to run a running back by committee style offense and to maybe share the carries with 2 or 3 different running backs. That could be what we're going to see in the future with this Matt Nagy team.
But then we see that anyway with Cone. He had 100 carries.
Yep.
It's not like that the next guy only had 25. Cone had 100 carries. Cone cannot carry the ball 250 times. He'll never survive.
Right.
Especially if the Bears wanted him to run a lot of plays inside the tackles, but they weren't the strongest offensive line team in that category. They're zone blocking. But you know what? I think the Eagles got better, and the Bears are a question mark at running back overall right now.
Right, because we don't know who they might acquire at the running back position in the draft, and we really don't know much about Mike Davis, who was used sparingly at Seattle, enough, obviously, for the Chicago Bears brass to kind of like this guy and think that he is more suited for the offense than Jordan Howard. So we'll just have to see. This is a wait and see. Are you of the mind that a lot of people do the hashtag "in pace we trust"? Are you one of those guys?
No.
How do you think so?
We hope. In pace we hope. He had a good year last year. But if the Bears have an average year this year, lose games, if not one of their backs carries over 200 times, they're going to miss Jordan Howard. That's all I'm telling people. And I think Jordan Howard's in the perfect place. Do you know that he averaged 4.4 yards a carry when they went to the shotgun, the Bears? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Do you know that Philadelphia is in the shotgun, the third most in the NFL? So I think he's in a good fit. Good luck to him, and I hope the Bears can replace a guy that carried the ball 250 times. I mean, that's a lot of carries, a lot of bruising. It continues. What it does is it continues drives, keeps the other team off the field, and all of a sudden that wasn't important. Haven't I been really hearing it for 2 years? Might get off Jordan Howard's back. All of a sudden, the same people that said get off Jordan Howard's back, they're saying we don't need him. I just don't understand it. I don't.
Very perceptive. The other interesting thing is a lot of people are saying that the Eagles run a very similar offense to the Chicago Bears. So why are they so content in making a trade for him? And the Bears are anxious to move him along. It's a little baffling. He's in the final year of his contract. $2 million wasn't going to break the bank here at Chicago.
That's what's puzzling.
Yeah.
He's cheap, and here's another thing. He's a Pro Bowler, and guess who was third in the league over 2 years in touchdowns? Jordan Howard. He had 18. He was a point scorer, a yard producer, didn't turn over the ball a whole lot, got you to tough yards, and we get a sixth rounder for him? Okay. Good luck to us. That's all I'm saying. Nagy apparently didn't like him all that much. I don't understand why. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan, but I see production. Right. And somebody saying, well, he only averaged 3.7 yards a carry. He was supposed to get the tough yards.
Right.
Tariq Cohen's supposed to get the glitzy yards. Period. They made a nice team, I thought.
Yes. Yeah, those stats are deceptive,
Oh, come on.
You look at what Jordan Howard did under the Dow Loggins offense and how he had huge games and game-winning runs. It's something, those first 2 seasons with the Chicago Bears is something that I won't soon forget. This guy really was head and shoulders.
I thought he had a decent year last year. I didn't care. I kept saying, look, remember I say, who cares about yards gained per carry? He's getting first downs. He converted 1 week. I came on the air with us, and he had 4 conversions on his own.
Yeah.
They give him the ball, and he gets you the yards. Now, maybe on the next maybe this year, 3rd and 2, we get 1 yard. Stops the drive. We lose a couple more games. All of a sudden, people will be clamoring. I just don't get what the hurry was. And this is why I wanted Kareem Hunt. I don't care what anybody says. I wanted Kareem Hunt as the next running back. Now, we would have had to wait 8 weeks with the suspension, but I wanted him. And you know what people are saying? We got Howard and Tariq Cohen. Well, now what?
Now you got Davis and Tariq Cohen.
My God.
That's funny.
I never seen people. Bear fans are the biggest flip-floppers in the world. They are.
Well,
I mean, I would catch it on the chat board about Jordan Howard. Now, all of a sudden, the same people are going, hey, get lost. We don't need him.
All right. We know how you feel about that particular topic. I love it. All right. Why don't we move on to some picks? What do you say, Mike?
I love picks. You know I live and die with the picks. I was in the fetal position last night. I'll tell you what, I put in one last night. Purdue plus 4.5. They lost by 5. I didn't give it up. Thank God. This morning I was asking the wife, how long does it take for the garage to get filled with gas when the door is closed? That's all I want to know. I'm just asking for information. My God. The life of a gambler. Who said it was going to be easy?
He is the emperor.
Usually I do, but I'm bitter this morning. I'm coming to get him. That's what I do, and it's time for our pick.
That's right. He is the emperor of all odds. Mike North, who also has a show on ESPN 1000 on Fridays at 6 p.m. Central. You can find them at LasVegasScoresAndOdds.com. Mike North always gives us a couple of picks on Sunday, and let's see what he's got in store for us today.
I got a special treat for all you Mike North handicappers out there, and if you're one of mine, you're living in a different income tax bracket now, son. It's called Moneyville. It's a little island. That's what you get when you go with my picks, okay? Especially on Bear Barroom, or whether it's been football. See, I'm a 4-sport athlete. Dion was a 2-sport. Bo was a 2-sport. I'm 4-sport. Hockey, basketball, Major League Baseball, NBA. Hell, I'm more than 4-sport. I'm 5, NCAA. No, basketball. No, 6, NCAA football. Aldo's going, please.
I love it.
Would you please give me a pick? I asked you 10 minutes ago. You started doing the Gettysburg Address. I don't need to hear it, okay? Let's just get to the picks. All right, here we go, Aldo. Number 1.
All righty.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud on NCAA Sunday to say I'm not giving you any games in basketball. None. It's baseball time. Baseball time. Yeah! It's time to bet some baseball, ladies and gentlemen. So far, a little bit mixed, but you know the handicappers have spring training just like the teams do. And I saw a game today that just made me, I don't know if this word's ever been said on this show, oogle with excitement, okay?
I never heard of it.
I think my teacher said that, oogle. Just take out the G and Google.
Okay.
Haven't you ever heard that he was oogling her?
Oh, that's right.
Okay?
Yes.
I'm oogling with excitement. And it's a 307 game on DirecTV, 692, or Fox Sports West, okay? So you got to have some sort of package or whatever you got over there, okay? Because it's Fox Sports West. It's not anything around here. And what you have is the Angels at minus 107 with Skaggs pitching for them. He's 1-2. You got Athletics, who are underdogs at home. Athletics aren't a bad team. Pretty good organization, but their pitching has been very spotty. They got an older staff. Saw Estrada get lit up the other night. But I like the Angels with Mike Trout. It'll be some fun viewing, seeing one of the top players in baseball. And they are minus 107. That's not a big price. So that means, folks, if you're going to bet 100, if you want to win 100 with the Angels, you got to bet 107. So for every 100 you win on this game, let's say you bet 3, okay, it would be like 400 and, I don't know, help me out, $20.
Yeah.
If you lose. Mm-hmm. If you bet 300. No, that was wrong. There'd be $321.
Okay.
If you lose on a $300 bet. So it's not bad. It's not bad. So I want to give everybody out today on Bears Barroom the Angels, okay, as my number 1 pick. Now, Aldo goes, Mike, that's great. What do you got for us next? Because he really loves my picks. Doesn't do anything with them, goes home and weeps with the money he could have made once he starts thinking about it.
So true.
There's no doubt about it. One day you're wearing sunglasses, and I go, what's the matter? Did somebody die or anything? Are you going to wake? He goes, no, I didn't take your picks last night. You were dressed in black and everything. It was touchy. Yes. Anyway, Red Sox and Seattle. This one here is a money line game, okay? Take the 1.5 with Seattle. You got to invest, I think, $130 on this, and take 1.5 runs. 1.5 runs against the Boston Red Sox. So you have Seattle with the run line, and you got the California Angels with the money line. Those are my 2 picks of the day. Aldo, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike, for those money-making tips. We'll be watching those games now with great interest. That was fun. Hey, you mentioned the Red Sox. I never got your thoughts about Ichiro, and he has retired now. This guy, had a great baseball career. You have any thoughts that you want to share with our followers about his career?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, Japanese baseball has always been viewed, I don't care, as the easier league.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even on the same level as the Major League. Sorry, folks. That's just the way it is. And they only have a policy. I don't know if they still have it, but they had a policy. You can have only so many foreign players on the team and all this other stuff. Tuffy Rhodes was a star in Japan. He had a brief cup of coffee, hit 3 homers in one game. I was at that game off Dwight Gooden. But they were calling him Baby Rhodes. Babe Rhodes.
Yeah.
He ended up in Japan. Randy Bass. Ichiro changed all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's starting to change even more. There are players in Japan that definitely can compete, and he was the guy. He's unbelievable. He can hit the off fields. He still is a rocket arm. I would have liked to see him play the whole year this year. I know he's lost a little bit of quickness. I know he can't hit like he used to, and maybe it was time for him to leave because he felt, I don't think he quits unless he knows his skills are diminishing. Just a great, great ball player. And, I don't know if he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. All of a sudden, everybody's supposed to be a first balloter now. Babe Ruth had to wait. Ted Williams had to wait. But you know what? Mariano Rivera doesn't have to wait, or either does this guy. So, that's the new way it's going now. He's a Hall of Famer, pure and simple.
Mike, Babe Ruth was not a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Well, no, he was in the first class.
Okay.
That was wrong. He had to wait for the Hall of Fame.
Gotcha.
Other guy, there's never been a unanimous vote.
Gotcha.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
In other words, Rivera didn't have one negative vote. Williams had many.
Yes.
Babe had many.
Mm-hmm.
They all had negative votes, even though they were put in. He was unanimous.
All right, let's turn our attention to a guy who's probably never going to get a Hall of Fame vote, and that's Yu Darvish, the Chicago Cubs pitcher who signed a contract, about 13 months ago with the Chicago Cubs for $126 million over 6 seasons. He is now 1-3 with the Cubs since signing a contract, and he lost another game yesterday. He walked 7 guys in two-thirds of an inning. He had a couple of strikeouts. He just didn't have it. This was Darvish after the game, asked if he was upset with himself, and then Joe Madden talking about Darvish's performance.
First couple guys, I feel good. But after that, I lost my command about, especially the fastball. Yeah.
I thought he looked good overall. I mean, like delivery and stuff out of hand. The command just wasn't there. I can't give you any other good reason than what I was watching.
Mike, I saw most of every pitch, I think, of Darvish's performance, and this guy was frustrating to watch. He just had such a hard time finding the strike zone, despite the fact that he struck out 2 players, but he walked 7. Is it time to press the panic button on Yu Darvish?
Well, no, you got to know what you're dealing with. First of all, I've never seen Little League pitchers have that kind of line score. Never. Right. You know how hard it is to pitch almost 80 pitches in 2.2 innings? Are you kidding me? But here's the problem we have in this town. People are afraid to put the heat on. People are in the bag with the Cubs. People are afraid to step out. You know who steps out? The fans. I'll give you a perfect example. This is from Rick Morrissey, okay? Who's a columnist. This is from February 27th. Mm-hmm. Cubs, Yu Darvish doesn't have to prove people wrong. They already were wrong. I'll read you a caption, okay? Yu Darvish has ditched his interpreter. After all the abuse he took last year, I'm surprised he's talking to anyone in any language. Critics accused the Cubs pitcher of being soft for not battling through injury and illness. They blamed him for the rotation's inconsistency, for the team's unsatisfying finish, for the small return on his big contract, and for, I don't know, the destruction of coral reefs. Rick Morrissey doesn't watch the games. Those are all true, except the coral reef. Those are all true. Mm-hmm. blaming the fans, it's not Rick Morrissey's job as a columnist to hope the fans are wrong. It's for Rick Morrissey to write a column on how he feels and what he's watching, not to be a Cub cheerleader. That looks like a column. This looks like a column from ChicagoCubs.com. Rick Morrissey should wear a Cub uniform when he goes in the press box. That's despicable, because unless you didn't watch the games and unless you don't know Yu Darvish's history, you're just working for the ball club. It's an absolute shame. Yeah. And I'm reading it and I'm going, he says it's one thing to criticize the athletes for how they play if they're bad. It's more than fair to call them out for their badness. But it's another thing to question an injured player's spine. Hey, it's about the mentality. It's not about his physical injuries. I don't know if Rick ever competed in sports. I don't know. But I've said this guy's a head case for over a year and a half, because you have to know the game. And you have to have that gut feeling about somebody, like I did about Cutler. And believe me, I could read you what Rick Morrissey said about Cutler. All good. You can't... Look, he's never going to be Rick Talley. He's never going to be Jay Mariotti. He's never going to be Skip Bayless. He's never going to be Terry Boers. He's never going to be John Carmichael. He's never going to be Warren Brown. But if you're a columnist for a major paper and your goal is you hope Yu Darvish does good just to prove the people that buy your paper and they're dwindling, to prove the fans wrong, the fans are smarter than Rick Morrissey. I guarantee you that. I know I am, because I watched the game. And everything he described is absolutely true, yet he denies it. He thinks the fans made this up. And that's wrong. That's wrong. Period. He's not getting the job done.
It is a little weird to question the fans' mentality, and as you know.
Oh my God! They got eyes.
Yeah, you're a sports columnist. Talk about sports, not the fans or what they're thinking. I don't.
But I mean, I know. Look. He was trying to say, you want Yu Darvish. He's a cheerleader. He's got to write something positive. He wants that credential. He needs the job. If I owned a newspaper, I'd hire writers who had money already, or who weren't afraid of job security. And the team's putting pressure, which nobody does better than anybody in this town. I mean, it says here, look, I look up a headline. The Chicago Tribune's Rick Morrissey is in love with Jay Cutler. This is from 2009. Okay? And he says, this is about Cutler. What amazes Morrissey the most is Cutler's gentle, almost sensuous touch. The surprising thing has been Cutler's ability to make the delicate pass. No one told us a cannon could dispense velvet projectiles. He has been so precise at times, you get the feeling he could throw the football through a moving mail slot. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You cannot.
It sounded like erotica.
Right? You cannot say stuff like that, because you know what now? You're going to get called on it. Because it turned into a disaster. Am I right or wrong?
I think you're right.
Yeah. I mean, that is completely nonsense. But this was taken from a column. You know, you can't change a leopard's spots, but you can't shoot it with a tranquilizer gun. If Cutler could play with this much control, imagine what the Bears would be like if they ever landed a receiver or two. We found out what they were like when they got Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett and everybody else. This is what I'm talking about. He compared him to Brady in this column.
Seriously?
I'm serious. And it's not just about him. It's about everybody else, too. It's not about Rick. Rick is just one of those guys. He's a homer. But you're a columnist, man. Sometimes you just got to bite down and say, you know what, they're not going to do anything to me if I tell the truth. I mean, it's unbelievable. I saw what Contreras said about Darvish. You know what he said about him? He said he seemed emotional. Well, that's in the head, because he was going back to Texas. There you go. He seemed emotional before the game. And then he's going to go pitch against him. How'd that work out?
Not too good. Not too good. I'm
just telling you, and you know what? You look at these things, and you just can't believe that people write them, or people, you got to read between the lines here. I want them to do well. I said I picked the Cubs. You don't think I don't feel so good after yesterday? I picked the Cubs to win the National League because I'm banking on him winning 12 to 15 games. They need him. He can't have that record and walk away like last year. But this was not good, and Madden was speechless, basically. I don't know why he lost his command. Neither does anybody else that wishes they made $130 million. I don't care if you have to underhand it. Throw it over the plate. Let him hit it.
I saw some.
You think I got a little bit too feisty?
I think no, not too feisty, but
I'm just tired of the nonsense.
Yeah. It is weird, that a prominent sports columnist is taking that route and talking about Chicago sports in his column. But hey, that's his prerogative, I guess. But your thoughts?
Yeah, but I'm going to call him on it.
Absolutely.
Nobody else will because they want to sit next to him because he's a big time columnist. I have all the respect in the world for a lot of the things Rick has done, but when you start worried about, I want the fans to be wrong. No, you got to watch Yu Darvish. You want the Cubs to be right. There's a big difference, Rick.
What do you think about this Cubs team? Early in the season, they've won a couple of games down in Texas now. Any thoughts you want to share with our followers?
Well, I like Hamels going today.
Yeah,
I like Hamels going today, and I like what's going on. As far as it was good that I thought Bryant got off to a good start. So you know what? I like this team. I like them when it's. I like Cole Hamels. I really do. So I'm just hoping Darvish could straighten out. I didn't want what happened yesterday to happen to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think anybody did. We're not rooting for this.
Right.
You just got to pay attention when you have a job in the media. Yeah,
that's my biggest concern with this whole Yu Darvish situation. That $126 million is basically, for playoff appearances. And if this guy is going to be injured, not have his confidence, not have control on the mound, then he's going to have a hard time winning 10-plus games. And this team needs him to win 15 to 20 games to get into the playoffs. It's plain and simple. This has got to pay off for Epstein and the Cubs. If not, this team is going to have a hard time getting into the postseason. They're playing in a tough division.
I hope he proves that he can get back up, and I hope that Rick is right eventually, about the assessment that the fans should be proven wrong about this. No, Theo Epstein has to hit one. He's got to hit a right free agent. The Hayward thing, thank God they won, overpaid. Chatwood, overpaid. He's better at the draft. I understand. There's a reason they didn't go out and get more people. They got people in place. And don't think they weren't nervous in that dugout yesterday. And yesterday was a disaster. It's the worst pitched game I've ever seen. I can't remember somebody throw 78 pitches in 2 innings. Not even in 3 full innings. Ever. So I hope it turns around. We're rooting for the guy, but you got to report what you see and quit worrying about what the fan base thinks.
Absolutely. Now, over in the South Side, Eloy Jimenez gets his first hits as a professional baseball player. Now, they talked to him after the game. He's not much of an interview. He's very shy. He's still learning the English language. But I wanted to play this because maybe someday, 15, 20 years from now, we can say we had a soundbite of, if we're still alive, we can say we had a soundbite of Eloy Jimenez.
Can we go 5 or 6 the next 5 or 6 years, please, just to be safe?
Sounds good. This is what
don't want to make promises that we may not. We want to keep them. It's up to you know who.
Yes, indeed. This is what Eloy said about getting his first hits as a major leaguer.
I feel amazing. It's one of the feels you're never going to forget.
Can you have the baseball, Eloy?
Yes.
You have the ball. What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to put it in my room and I'm going to see it every day.
He's going to put the baseball in his room for his first hit. He's going to look at it every day. He's very proud of this moment. And I got to tell you, this guy looks like he could potentially be a real heavyweight Major League Baseball star. I like everything about him, the way he swings the bat, the way he comports himself. I don't know, Mike, I've got high hopes for this guy.
Yeah, I like him too. I hope he does well. The other guys are busts. I heard somebody on another baseball. I heard the announcer and analyst on another baseball game, I forget which one he was, who basically said, look, when you trade veterans, and he wasn't just talking about the Sox, and you're rebuilding and you're trading them for prospects, you need a good scouting department that can tell you whether a team is trying to buffalo you on certain players. And right now, I think for the most part, the Sox, with certain players, have been buffaloed. We have injuries and everything else. Bad luck also comes into play in karma. But I hope this kid does it. What I saw the first day was a nervous kid, them going after him with off-speed stuff, going off with junk. Mm-hmm. And I think no doubt, if you pitch him a fastball, he'll jump on it. That's what he's going to be looking for. But we are going to see, like we've seen with Moncada over the last year or two, who has trouble. Can they hit the breaking ball? Because the breaking balls you see here are not like the breaking balls that you saw when you were playing in another country. Period.
Yeah.
Period. And that's the thing. These guys are all conditioned to hit them. They can hit, and they practice. Even the batting cages don't give you a breaking ball. So if I was pitching against Eloy, I would definitely go breaking ball, and he's going to have to beat me that way. If you pitch him a fastball for the most part, I think he's got a good shot to destroy. That's why he had dominant numbers in the minor leagues.
Now, you do have to admit that Yohan Moncada, is off to a pretty decent start. Third baseman for the Chicago White Sox. He played second base last year. He had about 20 errors over there. But he looks steady at third base, and he's been swinging the bat well. Good start for Moncada.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They're 0-2, though. And you know what? It's going to come down to that.
Yeah.
And, Rick Renteria seems like, good old Uncle Nick. But the White Sox had trouble drawing to begin with. You don't want to lose today. I think they got a shot today. I'm hoping Giolito does good. He's one of my guys. I hope he can pitch a good ball game. I would shade myself towards taking the White Sox today. So I hope they win this ball game. When they go for their opener, eventually you want a pretty good crowd, and I'm sure they'll get one.
Yeah, I think they will too. I'm starting to have some better vibes about this White Sox team. I know they're winless, but I look at this roster and you predicted some 70, 71 wins for them. I'm thinking they could play 500 ball in this season and be a big stepping stone to better days ahead. But they need, obviously, some of these young players to turn things around that they've picked up via trade and so forth, and some of the injuries that have hit this team, unfortunately. We shall see, but I'm feeling really hopeful on this Sunday morning, Mike.
You know what I'm thinking after hearing you think they could go 500? You know what I'm really thinking, Aldo? I'm thinking you were down in Logan Square last night looking for crack somewhere. That's what I really think, to be honest with you. No, to be honest, I don't think they're going to be 500, Aldo, but if they win 70, 72, 73 games, and they won 62 last year, you got to consider it. And you were in Uptown going, anybody available? I mean, just seriously. I think if they win, like I said, look, I'm not going to just say you're wrong. I didn't think the Bears were going to win 12 games. I think you had more hopes for them than I did. I hope they do. Look, what people don't understand, whether it's Darvish, whether it's the Bears, whether it's the Cubs, whether it's the Sox, we want them to win. I'm a Chicago boy. I've never wanted any other team to come in here. I used to go to the Yankee-Sox games. My childhood, it was like getting kicked in the gut. Like getting kicked in the gut. The Mantle teams, they come in and just roll over us. 50,000 for doubleheaders. I used to work the Cub games. I knew those guys personally. When we lost in '69, even though I was a Sox fan, I knew them all. I mean, it was cool to go up to Ernie Banks and say, "How you doing, Ernie? How you doing, son?" And then years later, I'm trying to get a statue built for the guy, which we did, with Jesse Jackson, John McDonough, and other people. So I love Chicago, but I'm not going to lie to people and play propaganda. We got to see wins, period. And I hope the guys can, because we want them to win.
Well, and that's how they feel over in Los Angeles with the Lakers. The LA Times is reporting that this is Bill Plaschke's column. The headline is LeBron James's inaugural Lakers season ends as a complete bust. And of course, what's motivating that headline is that the Lakers announced that they are shutting down LeBron James for the rest of the season because of a groin injury. It seems to me, Mike, that the NBA shuts down players more often than the NFL does. Isn't this wild?
It's a shame. It's a shame. I mean, LeBron James missed 18 games. He's the guy that caused the week off from the NBA, so we can all watch college basketball and fall in love with it all over again every year. What he's done in Los Angeles is despicable. He was picked. Look, where is all the bad? He was picked to win an MVP by many.
Yeah.
MVP.
Right.
I heard people pick him for an MVP, pick him for fourth in the Western Conference. And now he's closing it down. He's got that game show called The Extra Mile. He's the only one that doesn't. He takes the shortcut. Hey, I'm LeBron James for The Extra Mile. Watch people fight for their lives to win $1 million and watch me sit on my ass and not come through. The Extra Mile, my ass. Guy's making millions, promoting his brand, alienates his team. Alienated him. I wouldn't want it. He just buried him. And then it's everybody else's fault. Come on now.
That is funny.
You think I've had too much coffee?
No, please drink more.
Okay, I just wanted to check. I feel good today. There's a lot of people just quitting and playing bad.
I know. What's
making
going on?
excuses. I just can't believe it.
Oh, then you got the guy over at New York, and that Porzingis guy. He's being accused of rape, and oh my gosh, what's happened with this?
I didn't hear that. When did that happen?
Oh, it happened yesterday. Does he even still play?
Enlighten me, my friend. That's not good.
Okay, let me hold on a second. Let me call up the story.
Hey, we got all the time in the world, pal. It's me and you. Is it just accused allegedly, right?
Yeah, this is an allegation, and apparently happened some time ago. The FBI has been investigating it. Let me read straight from our friends over at TMZ.com.
Right.
Hold on a second as I cue this up here.
Mm-hmm. It's my fault. You brought it up, but I took this thing,
law enforcement.
And I have you looking around like a copy boy from the New York Times. Isn't that ridiculous?
That's right.
Bring me that article, will ya? Aldo, thanks. With the cigar, the suspenders, like Ben Bradley of the Washington Post.
Yes, sir, Mr. North. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ the alleged victim told cops Porzingis pinned her down on a bed in his guest room, penetrated her with his, and then got violent. The woman told cops he hit her in the face several times, spit on her, and called her names. Now, Porzingis is the target of a New York Police Department investigation after the woman came forward and accused him of rape, according to TMZ, and the woman claims, Porzingis' attorney says that the team was aware of this, that they have asked the FBI to investigate this, that they've been aware of it for months. They have not kept this secret, so it's basically a he said, she said thing. This guy, Porzingis, he could be totally innocent on this. We know that we have seen, accusers make up stories to get money, and he also could be totally guilty on this. So it's one of those things where we should probably wait and see. But the allegations, of course, are very, very serious and have to be looked into by law enforcement.
Yeah, that's bad scene, man. It's such a bad scene. That's why, you used to see the ball players out a lot. When I was at Gibson's, you'd be at Gibson's, you'd be at the bar, and we'd be sitting like three or four of us. If you walk into Gibson's on Rush, and the first thing you see is the bar to the right. Mm-hmm. We'd sit in those 5 seats, and you'd see, like when the coaches were in town for the pre-draft camp, Chuck Daly, Mike Fratello, Hubie Brown. They'd all come to Gibson's, Doug Collins, all of them. Then you'd see guys like the road teams. Jordan would come in there, Shaq. Rodman, you'd see McGrady, all those guys at Gibson. So, it was pretty cool. But you wouldn't see that now. That was before the camera phones, before, all this other stuff. You don't see a whole lot of that anymore. You see them walking out of a restaurant or something, to their car or something like that. But the old days, we used to be filled. Jack Dempsey's. The whole New York Yankee team used to go in there back in the day. If you read about Jack Dempsey's or Twitch Shores, Joe DiMaggio, you'd run into Joe DiMaggio or Jackie Gleason. Those days seem like they're over.
Yep.
And that's why, because you don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I don't have anything to say about that. He might have done it, might not have.
That's
and
right.
It's up to them. We'll find out more. Believe me. But I didn't even see it. So, and I usually am on Twitter. There wasn't a whole lot out of it.
Yeah.
So I must have just missed it.
It came out late last night, so I think a lot of people have missed it.
And he's got a pretty good image.
He does.
He did.
Yeah, exactly. He did.
Well, no matter what now, if he's innocent, even.
That's right.
If he's innocent, his image has been hit. There's no doubt. It happens.
Hey, let's hope justice prevails. We know. Speaking of justice, Mike, I got to play this one thing for you. Chris Rock yesterday was at the NAACP Awards. He was supposed to hand out an award, and he had to make a comment on this whole Jussie Smollett situation. I want to play. I want to play what he said here. It's about 45 seconds long.
Good.
I guess I gotta present an award. They said no Jussie Smollett jokes. Yeah, I know. What a waste of light skin, You know what I could do with that light skin? That curly hair, my career would be out of here. Running Hollywood. What the hell was he thinking? From now on, I ain't never gonna know you're Jesse from now on. You don't even get the you no more. That you is respect. You ain't getting no respect from me.
That was Chris Rock yesterday at the NAACP Awards. I know you've been tweeting a lot about the Smollett situation. I thought you'd get a kick out of hearing Chris Rock picking on Mr. Smollett and that whole controversy, that whole...
I mean, what a shame.
Yep.
I know a lot of policemen. I grew up in Chicago. I know people of all races, genders, ethnicities, you name it. I know them all. I've been in this town my whole life. What a pathetic dude this guy is. Seriously. Just a shame. And then to hear the NAACP just show their hand, and Chris Rock, good for you for showing the hand that you weren't supposed to tell Jussie Smollett jokes because we're in such a PC society. And you know what? Everybody would have jumped on it, but Chris Rock is the only guy secure enough to say, "Hey, I'm not going to do that. You want me here? I'm going to come out and say something." And so I give him all the respect in the world. Rahm Emanuel, you know what? He started out so good, and then started blaming other people from other states and other, what they do from the president down. Enough. This was a bad deal. It was bought and paid for, in my opinion.
Well said, Mike North. That's a perfect way to end the show. And to remind audiences that we are back right here on Mixlr.com live at 7 p.m. Central tomorrow. Mike will have a very special guest.
Oh, yeah!
On the Mike North Advantage. And this show and all the Mike North Advantage shows are on your podcast stream about an hour after the live version is done with. Mike, any final words?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the show. I only listened to it 4 times last week. I swear to God, it's a great show. If you don't listen to it, plus the picks. And you know what? If you've been following the picks, folks, since I've been with Aldo for 41 shows, 42 shows, you're gold. So let's go get them. Aldo, good job, buddy.
Thank you. Likewise, Mike. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good, bud.